Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we have 3 different chassis behind me. 2 are Supras, but they have their differences. One is a C7 Corvette. What we are going to talk about today is which one of these 3 chassis would be better to build as the next pro car for Rad Industries that I would drive in Formula Drift. We'll first break down each chassis, pros and cons, tell you why this one would be better than that one, so on and so forth. We'll go through it, and then I'm gonna pick which one I wanna start building on. Before we go inside and we break down each vehicle, the pros and cons, I wanna hear from you guys in the comments below. What chassis do you pick and why do you pick that? It can be many reasons, let's hear those reasons. Okay, let's go inside. All right, so we're gonna interrupt this video. We're gonna talk about some SunX tools real quick. The reason I wanna interrupt the video and tell you guys is because we're doing a giveaway. Everything you see here, this is a new impact set from SunX, 1/2-inch drive, and it comes with Allen keys, comes with some pretty big sockets, deep and normal, and then it comes with your normal socket sizes. Look, there's metric and SAE. So these are the metrics. Here's the SAE. So it's kind of everything you need for impacts on 1/2-inch. On top of that, you get one of their brand new 1/2-inch impact air guns. This is one of their newest guns that just came out. It's magnesium composite. Everyone can use an impact wrench at some point, so you win both of these. So in order to win this, you guys need to jump over to an Instagram post that SunX and I did, and you need to first follow SunX Tools, and then you also, for a bonus entry for your chance to win, you can tag friends and comment. Explain to us why you should win this. So head over there for your chance to win. Good luck, guys. Hope you win this, and you can use some SunX Tools when you're working on one of your projects. Let's get back to the cars. All right, so here we have a 93 Target Top Supra. You guys know I love Supras. So pros and cons on this one. Pros would be that it's basically the same as my current drift car. I have the full recipe to do everything, cut the excessive metal off, put my body kit on it. Wait guys, let's stop this video real quick. Come here. I see a turtle at the shop. You don't see turtles too often. I have ADHD and it just shines right now. You guys can see I got distracted by a turtle. What's up, dude? Okay, we'll leave you alone. Look at how fast you want to go when we irritate you. Okay, have a good day. Okay, back to the Supra. Target Top is identical to my pro car. We could do things similar but better, save some weight in some areas, do things more simple than we had all the years ago when we did the first version of my Pro Supra. Just, you know, you can always build something better. Yes, I've rebuilt that car several times and updated things, but so you would have spares package, you kind of already have it. You would have engines, like I would have the mounts for everything, the brake kit for, I literally have every part for this chassis. So it would be almost a no-brainer, easy to create it into a pro drift car for minimal money, for myself at least, because I already have all the supporting pieces, and or I make them and sell them to other people. Like, it would be easy for me. And this is a clean chassis, no damage, no bent frame rails, no dents even underneath the frame rail on the bottom, no rust. It just needs, you know, strip it down, fully remove all the, you know, crap, sound deadening, all that, the tar on the bottom of the car, whatever, the rhino lining type stuff from factory, and turn it into a race car. And I wouldn't be out of pocket too much. So there's that, and then I could still have the cool removable roof. Give or take, I could probably lose 50 pounds on my pro car, maybe a little better than that, something around that. So that's a thought. We got this chassis, like, really good deal, transported it back to Florida. I'm really thinking about converting that to the next pro drift car. Would it happen for the year of 2026? Probably mid-season, because I still have to refresh my pro car so that it can be at Long Beach round 1 and so on and so forth. I don't know if I could finish this. Maybe I could, but it wouldn't be that much pressure because I already have a Supra that I'm competing in. So that's Supra number 1. Now, let's head over here to look at this thing. C7 Corvette. You guys know I like C7 Corvette. This is something I've been hiding from you guys for a long while. We got this at the end of last year into 2024. It's a flood recovery car. So it was in a flood in one of the hurricanes last year. I don't know which one. The flood only went up to water line, only went up to here. And when you like follow that over, that's kind of just above the hub line, which when you look down in here, the hub kind of lines up with around the crank pulley. So it didn't really get barely to the engine. Maybe went up to like where the crank pulley bolt is. When you check the oil, it looks like brand new. The car only has, this is the crazy thing, the car only has 12,700 miles on it. The interior is like, it's dusty. Obviously it's dusty because it sat in the salvage yard or like the insurance wrecking yard lot thing. It's literally like, if I was to clean it, it's almost cleaner than my other Corvette, the Z06 that we have. Same year as that one, it's a 2017. This is a Stingray base model, basically. If you know Corvettes, it's Stingray, ZR51, then Grand Sport, then Z06, and then ZR1. And there's some models of differences in between those models. But anyways, 7-speed manual, it's a good starting point. Here's the thing, if I was gonna convert this to my pro car, it would be exciting for me because it's a new chassis, but then you have a spares package. You gotta get spare of every corner of every arm. First you gotta buy all the new stuff or try and get new sponsors, or hopefully some of your sponsors could like roll into a new chassis. Some of them would not, some of them would. And then you would need 2 of everything, if not 3 of some things. You need a different transmission. Maybe you could get the Sadev that I run in my pro car to work in here instead of doing transaxle setup and put a Winters in the back. But like, probably need another one because I don't want to tear apart my other car and I need to build mounts for everything. You could use OEM motor mounts on this car because you could do a built LTR motor in here. That's what I like about this car because it's like a purebred vehicle. Everything's good from factory. Similar to a Supra, you can still use the OE motor or one very similar to it, same footprint and stock motor mount type stuff, stock motor mount locations. If you really unfold the whole build, I would be like at least 100 grand if I got lucky into it. Me doing all the labor, not charging for labor, trying to get as many sponsored parts as I could along the way, and a sponsor to help with the build if they saw something valuable in that. It's a lot of like leg work behind the scenes, and then it's a ton of fab work and a ton of like engineering type work and like kind of trial and error, because there's only Tommy Lemaire out there driving this same chassis that's doing pretty well. We did have Barry on driving it years back, but no one really drives a C7 super competitively except those 2 names. I don't know, like you see Tommy Lemaire struggling with whatever it is. It's not perfectly set up yet. He probably learned something every round. So I would be in the same boat. I could ask him questions. I could try and take information from a C6 over to a C7, but you're still you're learning a new chassis, which I think is a 1 year or 2 year thing before you're actually super comfortable in it. So you have that's a con. You have all these spares packages, engine packages. Those are kind of cons also. I'm very involved in my engine builds, but I have a machine shop. Maybe they would be like, I don't want to do it. They probably would do it. I've talked to them about it even. But we're going into new territory with that because they don't specialize in LTs, Tons of stuff like that. And then there's the body kit. I like to be unique. As you see with my Supra, I made my own body kit, and I kind of very selective who I let buy that from me. So it's mostly like Dan's body kit on Supra. So I'd probably want to do the same thing on the C7. And oh my gosh, that would get expensive and it was a lot of effort. So I think it would be well into 100 grand, if not 200 grand by the time you're done with all your spares and developed all these parts. Would you make money back? Yes, because you could develop parts and billet pieces for this chassis, and other people would end up buying it. Maybe I sell the body kit, things like that. So there's that. And then, is this car actually going to be that much more competitive than a Supra? Yes and no. In a way, it's going to drive similar. The front is almost identical geometry when you look at a Supra to a Corvette. Dual wishbone. It's gonna be kind of twitchy in the front, and you're gonna have to numb it down so the judges don't see every movement you make on the steering wheel. It does make a lot of mechanical grip, so does the Supra. The benefit there is you could probably leave all that mechanical grip and drive through it, because you could have a supercharged or turbocharged V8, like a big beefy engine with more displacement, gonna make more torque obviously, and it might have a wider torque range, so you maybe could just blast through all that grip. That was my thought on that. And it would be fun to drive a V8 with a turbo. I probably would turbo it, not supercharge it. And it would be, I think it would be lighter. It has aluminum chassis, so there's like a lot of positives there. But then here's another negative. Aluminum chassis, you hit a wall or you bump something like hard in the front with another car, probably tweak those frame rails, and they're literally like cast aluminum. You're kind of screwed at that point. You can't just frame machine pull it back. You might, within some scenarios, be able to do a little bit of that, but I think most scenarios it's going to want to stress crack or stress fracture, and then you're like, shit, and you got to replace a whole rail. So there's all these like what ifs. Still, that's in my mind. Okay, last car, let's go look at the other one. Last but definitely not least, we have this right-hand drive hardtop 98 Supra here. And for me, guys, this is the one that I think makes the most sense to build. And let me go through and tell you why. It's already been stripped out. It's a hardtop, and that's the main reason I would want to pick this one. Targa versus hardtop, there's like a 60, 75 pound weight difference just from factory. When it's all stripped down and I get to rebuild it exactly the way I want, I feel like I could get my pro level car, I could get it 100 pounds lighter, which would put me like right on the cusp of being too light for the tire when like at the end of a run, when you burned all the rubber off your tire and you used up most of the fuel. You guys are thinking, oh, right-hand drive. No, I don't want to drive a right-hand drive. I would seal that up. I would punch a hole on this side, put a pedal box and a Woodward steering column, which I already have that in the other Supra, but it already just had the hole for me, but nothing else, so I can drill my own hole. We'll convert this to left-hand drive. We have a couple things that we'd have to modify. Obviously, this was an automatic chassis. You gotta change the trans tunnel to fit a little bit more. Things like that. Easy. We have cage kits. We already have a cage for this car. I already have another dash for this, a carbon dash for this car. But because it's a hardtop, it's more rigid, doesn't flex as much. Because it's a hardtop, we save 60 pounds right out of the gate. It might be more like 75 pounds. Going back to when we talked about the other Supra, I already have spares for it. I already know how to set the suspension up, how I like. Obviously, there's more to learn every time you drive a race car, and you can always evolve it, but like we're already way deep into that game with that car and like pretty happy with the way it drives. And then when we redo this, we could simplify things and just make it straight to the point race car. And certain things that were like a little flashy that were on my other car, maybe we don't need. We just make it clean, to the point, quick, build it just right, and I swear we could do it for like 50 grand, not including the labor hours or my time, any of that, or whoever's helping me. I guess gotta add that in there, what I pay them, but like out of pocket cost for what we need, because like got a lot of spares already for it, and then we got a lot of partners on board for the way we've been going with Supra stuff, and I think the fans are not gonna like it. I don't know that I could like live perfectly with it either if I like love Supra so much, and I've been that person. If I switched to a C7 Corvette, what are you guys gonna think? And what are the people that even aren't watching this gonna think about, hey, he's the Supra guy, now he's in a Corvette? Like, you sell out or whatever they're gonna say, they're mad at me. And deep down, it's still my favorite car. The C7's not my favorite car. It's like a car I like. So I think this is where it would land with this one. This is like thinking like as a business, like what makes the most sense as a business. And I would still love it because it's a Supra. Let me know what you guys think on that, or different comments that you might have of something I didn't quite hit on the points that I was talking about. This would be what I think I want to do, because it would just be a little easier, and right out of the gate, I could make it 10% better. Before we go, let me tell you how I can make it better. If you're thinking how the car pivots, it's the weight that's between this strut tower and that strut tower. If I could bring the weight in towards the driver on everything, there might be a tiny bit of room to move the motor back and not use stock motor mounts. I don't think I would do that. I would leave that alone, because it's not bad to have like weight on the front of a drift car. There is different opinions on that, but I believe it's better to have a little more front heavy. But instead of having pendulum weight in the back, currently my radiator's kind of hanging out around this area in my car, and my fuel cell is like right in between the strut towers. What I would do is change how I do the rear firewall and just put it right behind the driver, right behind my back. And I would try and get my battery's already in the back, but my battery and my fuel cell to be closer together in a way that are kind of straddled where the back seat would be. So by moving the fuel cell, let's say to where the current battery was over here, Then maybe I put the battery here because it's anti-gravity battery is much lighter than the fuel cell, and do 6-gallon fuel cell instead of the 8 or 10 that I have right now. I think it's an 8. Fit it in there, little things like that. Then the car wouldn't have like the pendulum, so you could kind of huck it in harder and drive more aggressively, and it's not gonna have that weight trying to keep it swinging. It would kind of hook and go as soon as you get back on the gas. And put the radiator tucked in as tight as I could in there. Things like this would make the car be more a potent vehicle, but still not take away from the grip of the weight that's over the back axles. So it'd be a little bit lighter and then a little bit better weight distribution. It would be a better car. And like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, I wouldn't be able to finish it in time to like debut it, which also you probably don't want to debut anything in Long Beach like they make us, because you're just straight into the gauntlet with all the walls. My thought would be if I started something like this in the off season, get my car ready as fast as I could, then get on the fab work and all the tedious long day work that you do, like preparing a race car chassis and stitch welding, things like that. Do that, and then somehow maybe have this ready by mid-season to like swap cars mid-season. So still be a Supra, but swap in the new one, and then I guess that would give me an opportunity to destroy one more Supra chassis in the in pro drifting. For all the people that wish they got a Supra and they're mad at me that I'm ruining these cars, like, well, guess what? I love Supras more than you do. That's why I have more than just my one, or maybe you guys don't have any, but I love Supras. So if I own it, I can go ruin it on the racetrack because I'm having the most fun you can have in that car on the racetrack, and it's having a fun time too. So that is kind of where I stand on that. Let me know what you guys think. All right, guys, I got distracted and I didn't mention the cons of the Supra. The cons is probably, is it the most competitive chassis out there? No. We can prove that no, it's not. Is it the easiest car out there in the field to drive? No. So that's kind of the same answer there. Is it the lightest chassis? No. It's not the lightest. It's not the easiest for the driver to drive, and then it's not the most competitive in the end, but that's kind of one and the same with easiest for the driver to drive. But that's kind of like an excuse in drifting because there's so many different chassis that are in drifting. If we wanted the easiest, we'd be trying to do an S chassis or an E36 or 46, because it's like they flow better. They're not twitchy like I mentioned. A Corvette and this are both twitchy, so neither of those are the best chassis. There's more positives on a chassis if you're thinking about a chassis for how easy it is to drive with like those 3 I mentioned, some BMW ones, and there's probably something else I'm forgetting, but like I don't want to be in that car, so sorry, the answer is no on those. There's probably another con that I'm not thinking of, but for me it's like I want to drive a car that I'm excited to walk up to every time, open that door and get in and be like, that's my pro drift car. I chose to do pro drifting. I chose to put myself through all the headache to get to all these different locations and do all this traveling every year. I better like the car, so I do like E36s a little bit, but I don't want that to be my pro drift car, sorry. Those are the cons for me. Let's hear your guys' cons on the Supra. If there's a bunch of different ones that I'm not thinking about, we'd like to hear them, but it's kind of where, like I said, where I stand on the whole 3 cars on which one I would pick. All right, guys, thanks for listening to me talk about all these cars. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully this sparked some interest and you guys are gonna leave some comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys later.